And hello. As as mentioned, I'm Scott. Sorry, is it Scott? Yeah. As Scott said, my name is Jana, and I'm running the Swedish games accelerator called Stugan. The topic of my talk today is 23 game developers in a cabin in the woods. What could possibly go wrong? And what I would like to talk about is the story of this accelerator from the beginning and what are the lessons learned from organizing the first year. But let me start with a quote from Kill Screen magazine that wrote an article about Stugan. Between 1962 and 1984, Andy Warhol had a studio in New York City called The Factory. There he invited other artists, musicians, writers, and filmmakers to spend some time working on their projects side by side, people like Bob Dylan, Truman Capote, and Mick Jagger. That was the same idea that Oscar Burman, general manager of Rovio Stockholm, had in mind when he said with Tommy Palm, the mobile guru behind Candy Crush and now CEO of Resolution Games, one day at his office in Stockholm. Bring 20 game developers to spend a summer at a cabin in the woods of Sweden. When I joined them, we polished this idea and we came up with the concept of this non-profit games accelerator. From the beginning, we had to face a lot of challenges, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, what is actually Stugan? As I already said, it's a Swedish non-profit games accelerator. And the idea behind this is that the veterans from the games industry, people who've been around for many years and they have experience, they want to give back and they want to support new talents and help them find their way in the games industry. Last year, for the first time, we hosted 23 game developers, and together they spent 8 weeks in a remote cabin in the middle of of Sweden. And from the beginning, we wanted to organize this as an annual project. So we did it for the first time last summer, and now we just announced that we're going to do it again this summer. So we just open our applications, and we hope we get some cool projects again. And an important part of this is that we have high-profile mentors from the games industry who come and they spend some time with us and they talk to the teams one-on-one and give them some valuable feedback to their games. So what do I mean by a non-profit games accelerator? It means that it's non-commercially driven and we don't take any equity in the games. So people are with us for the 8 weeks and they own the games themselves. When they leave after the 8 weeks, that's basically the end of our official relationship. Of course, we keep in touch with them, but there are no strings attached to this. It's some people find it hard to believe, but that's the truth. We have actually one of our participants from last year here, Mark Backler, working on the last word. So yeah, you can ask him. And the idea is to bridge the gap between the creative idea and the games industry. So we had the concept, and then we needed to find a way how to finance this. So this is a picture from a fundraising dinner from Stockholm that we organized over a year ago, and to that we invited a lot of CEOs and people with experience from the games industry, and we sat them down, we gave them some food, and we talked about our idea, and we managed to get many of them excited, and they wanted to be a part of this in some way, and they wanted to sponsor us as well. So the cool thing I think was that the first year the majority of the money came from these individual people from the games industry who felt like they want to give back and they want to help new people, new talents to accelerate their careers. So the next step was to find the location. We believe that game development is very democratic, and basically all you need is internet and computer, and you can sit anywhere in the world and you can create great games. You just need to think globally from the beginning, and then you have all the tools to make a good game. Just to throw two examples, like Flappy Bird that was developed in Vietnam and Kingdom Rush that was developed by a studio in Uruguay. Those two countries you would probably not put them on the top 10 countries with the best games industry. But yeah, they made it, and they became big. So this was kind of our idea to put people in a remote place in the middle of the Swedish nature and have them there work on their games for 8 weeks. We believe that the volunteer isolation brings focus and inspiration, and people can focus easily there. And that actually proved to be right. But to find this place wasn't as easy as we thought from the beginning, because we had some quite interesting criteria. We wanted to find an isolated place that would be beautiful, that would be by a lake in the middle of the nature, that would have enough space for approximately 25 people to sleep and work, and have some opportunity for some leisure activity as well. And on top of all that, we wanted to have a high-speed internet. So those are kind of contradicting requirements, I guess. But in the end, we managed to find this beautiful place called Dala Storsund in the middle of Sweden. With the help of the municipality of Falun, we found this place that actually belongs to a Swedish transport organization called Trafikverket, and they were kind enough to lend it to us for the whole 8 weeks. And then when we had the money, we had the place, and then we needed to get people to apply, find the actual participants. So I would like to show you an application video, one of the first application video we got last year, and it was a successful one. Thank you.
Hi Stugan, my name is Clint Sue, and this is Prism. Prism is a puzzle game for iPad about atomic matter. By solving patterns and symbols on each prism, the structure starts to unfold, and you begin to discover the secrets that connect the entire universe.
So this was an application video by Clint Sue, who actually just released his game last week. He was the first one out of Stugan to do so, and he did quite well there. I'm going to get to that a little bit later. But that would be just a typical example of good application video. Our requirements are to send us a short video pitch where you present yourself and the game you want to work on during the Stugan program, and the limitation is that it has to be max 90 seconds long. And we're looking for teams of 1 to 3 people. That was what we said last year. But this year we kind of changed that, and we said that the teams can be actually a little bit bigger, but there can be only 3 people at a time at Stugan. And the core of the team, or the core of the game development, must happen at Stugan. And apart from the video, people have to also send us a short written description of the project, the team, and the goal they want to achieve at Stugan. And this was actually one of the challenges we had to face last year, because we had the applications open for 2 months, and after 1 month we only got one application. And even though we believed that we were going to get the majority of the applications in the end of the application process, we got a little bit scared with that, and we started panicking, kind of, how are we going to get more applications. But fortunately, in the end, we actually got a little bit overwhelmed with how many applications we got. Here you can see a picture of me, Oscar, and Tommy gathering one weekend and going through all the videos and having a lot of fun, watching all the creativity and the great ideas that we got. And I can't wait to sit down again this year and look through the applications. We already got a few, more than one, so hopefully it'll be good. Another thing we wanted to do was to bring the experience to the people who were not actually at Stugan. So we wanted to video document the whole 8 weeks and put it on our YouTube channel. And that was another big challenge that we needed to solve. We didn't really know how to do this. First, we were looking for a YouTuber who could be there at least for like some time, probably not most of the time, but as much as possible. And we reached out to a few YouTubers, but nobody was really interested. So then again, we started panicking a little bit. And in the end, we were very lucky that we found Alicia Judge, who is in the middle in the red skirt. She is a journalist for Pocket Gamer, and she agreed to spend the whole 8 weeks with us and help us doing videos. And I think she did a great job there, producing 3 videos every week, focusing on different topics. Another challenge where when we have we had all that, but then we actually had to solve the logistics of bringing together 23 people from all over the world and spending together 8 weeks. We had here you can see all of them, our Stuganeers, and we had 15 different teams, and they came from literally all over the world. We had a team from Australia, from India, from South Africa, from the US, all over Europe. And these people all have different cultural backgrounds, and they have different food expectations, and we just didn't really know how the group dynamics will work. And we were very very nervous about that actually just before the start. Me personally, I was terrified of going there and spending the 8 weeks with like group of unknown people, and just I didn't know what's gonna happen really. But fortunately, it went well, because they were really all very nice people, and it worked out very well in the end. And during the 8 weeks, as I already mentioned, we had mentors coming in, and those people would typically spend 1 or 2 days at Stugan, and the most valuable thing they would do is to talk to the teams one-on-one and give them their feedback. These are just a few of them. I think the most popular mentor was Stephen Jarrett, who is a vice president of game design at King, and that seemed like a lot of teams appreciated his advice. And also many people were very happy to show their game and take a selfie with Jens, Betty and Sten, who is the lead programmer of Minecraft, and also came to the Stugan. This is a poster of a movie called The Cabin in the Woods, and I don't know if you've seen it, but it's actually a horror movie about a group of young people going in the cabin in the woods and spending some time together there, and then scary things start to happen. There were actually people were referring to this quite often, and one evening we actually all sat down and watched the Cabin in the Woods at Stugan. But fortunately, there were no scary really incidents. There were a few though. One of them that was particularly scary to me was I woke up one night because somebody was or something was like knocking on my window, and I didn't know what it was. But I went and I pulled the curtain, and there was like a huge owl trying to fly through my window and just crash on the glass. And I've never seen an owl before, so that was a really cool thing. And then another day we found a viper on the road, and that scared a lot of people as well, because you wouldn't die if the snake bites you, but you would need to go to a hospital, and some people thought that was really scary. So we had a football field in the middle of Stugan, and people usually just walk across the field as a shortcut, but then you could see really people like taking the time and walking around, like I don't want to step on a snake there or that. And then we also had a bird that had a nest above a door to one of the cabins, and it would just try to attack and poo on people who would just try to go in or out. And we didn't really know what to do about that because he had babies in the nest. So we just people just start wearing hats, I guess. That was the solution. And so fortunately, no scary stories really, but yeah, some incidents anyway. Here is some feedback we got from the participants. After the 8 weeks, we asked people to tell them what they felt, what was their experience, and we got some really nice feedback. People came to me and they said this didn't only meant a huge benefit to their game, but also to actually them as on a personal level. They felt like they found more about themselves, and they had a great time at Stugan with us, and that was really very nice for me because I was there the whole time with them, and we kind of became a family, and had a nice time together. it was nice thing is not only the participants that felt so grateful and so it was so beneficial to them, but also the mentors and other visitors that came to Stugan. They felt very inspired and they felt the energy that was going on there, and they became super motivated when they were going back to their jobs. And this as my last slide, I would like to come back to the game that was released last week called Prism. And it was released for iOS and it got featured all over the world on the App Store, which we were super proud of course. And the cool thing is that it was made by a single person. Clint made this all by himself, and he made a great job there. He managed to get a lot of media attention to his game as well. And one thing that I'm personally very happy about is that it's not just this game that is doing so well, but we can look forward to other great games coming out of Stugan. We already see a few games getting nominated for some awards and getting funding and releasing trailers and just in general being on the right way. So that is all from me. I would just like to remind that we just opened the applications 2 weeks ago, and we will accept the applications through the March 31st. So thank you.
So I know that it's in some ways it's hard to get something started for the first time, but in some ways it's also easier in a way because people want to be part of something new sometimes. Did you have any challenges or struggles kind of the second time around to kind of go back to the same people that funded the first one? Were they eager to re-participate, or how has that been?
Yeah, so we actually organized another round of fundraising dinner last year, in the end of last year, and we reached out to the same people, but we were thinking if it's actually going to be easier or more difficult to get more funding, and it turned out to be actually easier because we had the success case. We got a lot of media attention to the project during the first year, and then people came and we showed them some pictures and we talked about how it went, and we got some sponsors that were the same last year, but we also got a few new sponsors. So hopefully that will, or we got enough money for this year, but we need to maybe re-evaluate our business model for next year, because you can't really go every year and ask people to give us money. But let's see, it works so far.
Hi, I was just wondering how much people collaborated or shared or gave advice on each other's projects, and if you guys did anything to encourage that or structure that, like having show and tells, or how you structured the workspace so that people would kind of work together or alongside each other more.
So we were actually very open to people who could just find their working space wherever they wanted. We had 2 cabins where they would work, and some people could work in their own cabins as well. And we had 15 different teams working on their own projects, but at the same time what I really liked was that people really did share a lot together, and they tried to help out each other as much as they could. I think one thing is very clear, that as much as people learned from the mentors, they also learned from themselves, actually. And in the beginning, we were thinking if we should make this into a competition or not. And we decided not to do that. And I think that was a very good decision, because if it was a competition, then people would be more like working just on their game and like not really sharing with other people. While here we really saw a good collaboration between the teams. Some evenings people would just say like, I know a little bit about how to do this in Unity. Let's gather and I can teach you guys. And other day people would talk more about some other aspects of game development, or just try to help out each other in general.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.